Story 1. I am happy because I got a job right out of high school and do not have to spend 30 years paying off student debt. Story 2. I work as a supervisor for the Veterans Affairs Hotline. I handle patient advocacy issues, general concerns with Veterans Affairs healthcare, as well as crisis and suicide prevention and de-escalation. I only have a high school diploma. The only mental health education I have received is directly through my job. I have been working for a government contractor, and they paid for me to complete a 3-month course and take an exam for certification before hiring me. I also undergo retraining for my job every month. I have held this position for about 3 years. People assume that I must have a degree in mental health or a similar field. I do not. I simply put in the effort and passed the exam. Story 3. It has been challenging, not due to my education, but because of dealing with my parents' health. However, I feel like I am doing okay considering everything I have been through. Story 4. It was challenging at first, largely due to my own actions, but it is improving. I am relieved that I do not have a large amount of debt to repay. Story 5. Foxshade, you must have never visited the salary subreddit. 70% of the people there dropped out of middle school and now make 6 figures. Story 6. I was in the military for 22 years and received a well-paying job immediately after retiring, so it is great. It is helping to pay for my daughter's college right now. She is a sophomore at the University of North Carolina. So I am doing well, thanks for asking. Story 7. Making over $65,000 a year, plus yearly increases and a great retirement plan. I have only 14 more years until retirement. I will be 55 or 56. Story 8. Well, I'm not a doctor or anything, but working in technology, I have no student loan debt and not too many complaints about not having a degree. Story 9. I joined the Navy, got injured, and received benefits. I somehow managed to have a condo in San Diego, 2 nice cars, and I can go to the beach whenever I want. Life is good. Story 10. In the beginning, I lacked confidence to pursue certain jobs because I didn't have a degree. Therefore, I had to start towards the bottom and work my way up. Now, I have enough experience in my field to compete with anyone. Story 11. I made $600 a week and moved out while still in high school. I enjoyed home-cooked meals and a variety of dishes. I am currently looking into stock investments and will soon move up to management at a well-kept restaurant. Additionally, I am beginning training as an engine mechanic. Story 12. I started as a receptionist at 18 and worked my way up to operations manager by 26. There were moments when I felt insecure about not having a degree, but experience and work ethic often speak louder than a diploma. Story 13. Joined the spa industry and made $100,000 a year. I became interested in circus arts and financial independence, retire early lifestyle. I have visited 3 countries before the age of 30. I live a good life. Sometimes I dream about going to college for fun. I love academia and learning. Story 14. I joined the military right after high school. I retired after 22 years and worked for another 10 years. I am now fully retired at age 56. I have no mortgage and no car payments. Story 15. I'm semi-retired at 55. I have been fortunate with pensions and some property. The best decision I made was joining a pension plan when I started working at 17 and buying a flat while my peers were enjoying college life. I have worked in a blue-collar job and have been in management for the last 20 years. It has been pure luck, I admit. Story 16. Running a small business with 25 employees can be profitable. You don't need a college degree to succeed in life. Just have ambition. Story 17. $80,000 per year and growing. 2 vehicles and a home. Life is good. I feel bad for many people who were scammed. Story 18. I attended college for 1 year. The career I have now would not have been possible had I continued pursuing my degree. I currently enjoy a better and more fulfilling career that pays 3 to 4 times what my original career path with a degree would have offered. Story 19. Life is fantastic. I have a job I feel I don't deserve, as I worked hard for it, and a wife I love with all my heart, though I can't quite understand why she chose me. I also have a very nice place to live. College is beneficial, but it is not the only path to a fulfilling life. That is one of the biggest misconceptions told to the American people. College is important and you should pursue it. More importantly, you should learn to weigh life decisions properly and understand their future impact. Learning to make the best decisions for yourself will take you further in life than anything else. Story 20. I think things turned out okay. I have had a decent career, though the industry I chose is unstable. I have worked in technology for 25 years and have been laid off twice in the last 3 years. I just bought a house and avoided student loan debt. Part of me wishes I had pursued higher education. I believe I would have been better off with a computer science degree, but not having student debt brings me joy, and my wages have been pretty good without a degree. Story 21. I want to share my experience and say that change is always possible. I originally attended college to become a computer technician but dropped out during the dot-com bubble burst and the significant reduction in wages. I was earning good money until the Great Recession affected that career as well. 10 years later, I returned to school in the military. I am currently pursuing my 4th degree, with plans for a 5th. I earn 1 or 2 certifications each year. I transitioned from losing everything in my late 20s to being on track for financial independence. It hasn't been easy. I have been working and attending school full-time for the past 10 years. However, my children will have many more advantages in life than I had. Story 22. Oh, I did not go to college as much as I didn't finish college. It's been difficult, but it makes me feel slightly better knowing that many other people I know who did finish college are also not doing well. Story 23. I started at the bottom of the information technology world and worked my way up to team lead, then manager, and finally IT director for a company in Midtown New York City. I have started 2 companies. I have been married for over 25 years. I have owned my own home for a little longer. I am surrounded by good friends. I get to travel and spend weekends at my camp. I host a small talk show where I have the opportunity to speak with international celebrities and experts. These are the highlights. Everyone faces challenges that bring them down from time to time, but I believe I have done well for a person who graduated high school with a GPA of 2.222 and thought my path forward was to be in a band. I do not advise skipping college. I got lucky and had a great partner to push me harder. I became involved in a trade, yes, information technology is a trade, that at the time was desperate for workers. Unless you have luck, exceptional skills, or undeniable talent, you should pursue college, skill training, or an apprenticeship in your life. Story 24. The only people I see truly struggling with their student loans are those who are not well suited for academic pursuits. They had no real reason to attend college, found one that accepted them, and received merely a diploma without a meaningful education. Story 25. 225 plus bonus yearly. I have many high-level certifications. I built strong relationships and was able to transfer my skills into a very competitive field. I learned a lot about artificial intelligence recently and optimizing workflows. Story 26. Not bad. I managed to get into international banking. There is a lot of paid time off and the option to work from home. The pay could be a bit higher, but I am comfortable and take international trips annually. Story 27. A salary of $150,000 as a director of operations with a general educational development certificate is quite fortunate, and I am aware of this. Most individuals with master's degrees do not earn what I do. Story 28. The individuals who are not proud or who couldn't afford to attend college may not respond. I have a diverse group of friends, some of whom attended college and some who did not. Most of those who did not attend, by the time they reach their late 30s, wish they had because a college education provides options they currently do not have. Generally, college offers more freedom and typically, you are not coming home to sore muscles, an unreasonable boss who does not allow vacation time, or a toxic work environment. Some people own their own businesses, but they do not disclose how much effort it takes or the extent of their financial struggles, and once again, they find it difficult to take a vacation. Do not allow the successful individuals to lead you to believe they are the majority. Story 29. I am a retired New York City union ironworker, and creating buildings that cast a shadow a mile long at every sunrise and sunset was incredibly rewarding. Story 30. I didn't finish, but I'm doing reasonably well financially. I am 39 years old and made $147,000 last year. I expect to earn around $160,000 this year. I have a wife, 2 children, and 2 dogs. We own a home in a nice area and are about to undertake a major remodel. I have 2 paid-off vehicles from 2019. I have invested $300,000 and set aside $45,000 for my children's college fund. Story 31. I joined the military instead of going to college. I was able to save money while earning lifelong benefits. I used a Veterans Affairs loan to buy a house after I served. I am now working a job I enjoy, with no non-mortgage debt and a mortgage interest rate below 3%. In contrast, my friends who didn't join the military are living at home, struggling to get loan approvals while paying down expensive student loans and working in fields unrelated to their degrees. Story 32. Air traffic controller. Off the street hire. Retired well at 56. They are still hiring off the street. Inform everyone under 30. Story 33. I have a decent paying job, own a house, and have a good career trajectory. The biggest issue is that without a college education, the path to advancement in most companies is through management. Management can be an incredibly frustrating job experience. If I had attended college, I could earn my current income without the behaviors and actions of others impacting my work. Story 34. I am the head of maintenance for several commercial properties. I earn enough to support my family with a little left over, but not much. Took a long time to reach this point, but I am in a good place now. Story 35. Fantastic. In a twist of fate, I have been working in education publishing for 13 years. I haven't worked a weekend or outside the hours of 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. during that entire time, totaling 37.5 hours per week. I receive a month of vacation, 2 weeks of occasional time off, 4 days for volunteer work, and 13 holidays off. We even work half days on the day before many of those holidays. My annual cost for medical, dental, and vision insurance is less than $1,000. I also work from home, sitting on my sofa with a laptop. There are times of the year when it is common for me to have a lot of free time on my hands. Story 36. Most of my friends who graduated saw their dreams crushed before their very eyes by only being able to get accepted into internships that would lead to dead-end office jobs. The job market in my country is poor, so I cannot speak for graduates from other countries. As for me, my life was pretty hectic in my 20s, and I spent a lot of time running around without knowing what I wanted to do in life. After hitting rock bottom, I decided to work minimum wage jobs 80 hours a week for 3 years to save funds to start my own business. I am finally happy. Was not going to college a blessing in disguise? Probably not, since it took going through difficult times to finally feel secure. Am I better off financially than my graduate friends? Definitely not. Am I doing what I love while not being in debt from student loans? Yes, and those are the main reasons why I would say that life is going pretty well. Story 37. I work from home as a paralegal and have done so for a while now. It's not a bad job, but with inflation, I wish I earned more. Story 38. I am doing well. I started a job as an IT technician. After our programmable logic controller programmer was let go, my workplace sent me to take a crash course to learn how to program PLC devices, so now I am doing that as well. I am earning decent money. However, my boss is still difficult to work with. Story 39. I make $84,000 a year. I have 2 cats and a dog, and I am currently looking to buy a house in the next few months. I am happy and healthy, and my job will pay for my college education. I was also able to travel to Europe for 2 weeks. Story 40. Doing what I want and not paying off enormous student loans for a job I would hate or get bored with is quite rewarding. I have worked in many places and met a lot of interesting people. The downside is that I had to live in difficult circumstances at my lowest point. Story 41. I have extensive experience and knowledge in various areas, surpassing that of nearly anyone I know with a degree. I am not limited by a dead-end situation. Story 42. I worked my way up in the financial industry through experience. I am comfortable and have built a sustainable life for myself. Additionally, I avoided school stress and have no student debt to worry about, which is a plus. Story 4-3, call center manager for the win. I started on the phones and worked my way up. I now earn an annual salary of $80,000, along with benefits, and I work remotely. Story 44. It was looking good until I went through a divorce, and the judge decided that 40% of my retirement would go to my ex-spouse. Now in my 50s, I cannot retire because I would not be able to afford to live. I have saved very little outside of my pension, as I have been supporting my children through their health issues, and they live with me. I considered retiring from my job to cut that off and work another 10 years elsewhere, but I will be hard-pressed to find anything comparable to what I have now. Experience is valuable, but having a degree does matter to many employers. Story 45. I didn't attend college, and life has been quite fulfilling. I focus on working hard and figuring things out as I progress. Story 46. Statistically, higher education provides better chances of obtaining stable, high-income jobs. If that is what you consider success, then attending university makes sense. In my case, it was very beneficial, and I would not be where I am today without it. Story 47. I saved my money and bought a house at 23. My mortgage is under $900 a month because I put down 20%. I got married and have 2 kids. I earn enough that my wife has chosen to be a stay-at-home mom. I plan on going back to college in 2 years, so I'll have my wife's vehicle paid off. The additional savings will go toward tuition costs. I'm not sure what I want to do next. I've been in sales for a long time, and I think I'm ready for something different. At the same time, I might seek out some certifications instead. I may consider becoming a realtor or look into being a broker. Story 48. I believe not finishing college turned out to be a blessing for me. It was difficult to secure a high-paying job, and I resigned myself to the idea that I would only ever be able to obtain a basic mid-level position. I also realized that even if I worked my way up the corporate ladder, I would be stuck because leaving that job would be challenging without a degree. I even lost a job for misrepresenting my educational background on my resume. Eventually, I ended up in sales and started my own business. The entrepreneurial path was much better for me, and I have come to understand that it is overall more rewarding if you have the right drive. Now, I own an insurance agency with 7 employees and a portfolio of 8 rental properties. Most importantly, I have freedom and income security. I don't think I would have accomplished this while working for someone else. Story 49. I went a week after high school, decided to work instead, starting as a dishwasher and moving up to manager in a formal restaurant. It wasn't a traditional career path. I had a long, bumpy road, transitioning into manufacturing and becoming an assembly lead. I got tired of that and switched to heavy machinery operation, which is when I met my now wife. We moved 2 hours away, and I found a job in another factory as a material handler, where I stayed for about a year before transitioning to utility locating to build connections with local utility companies. When an opening arose, I moved to a local utility company, working in a union job. Last year, I earned about $90,000 with almost 700 hours of overtime, and I'm on track to make over $50 per hour. It's been a long, challenging journey, but looking back, I wouldn't change it because we own a house, and I have a wife and 2 kids who receive not just what they need, but also what they want within reason. College isn't necessary for everyone, and while trades are diminishing, they will never be completely replaced. I recommend that people consider joining a trade and a local union if they want to earn good money and always remain in demand. I'm 29 now, which might help tell the story better. Story 50. I ran out of money, joined the army, served for 8 years, and now I'm out with a job and taking online classes. Story 51. I have 0 debt and run a company. I don't even have a curriculum vitae and worked my way up from the bottom. When I hire people, I do not consider their education at all. Story 52. I earn $150,000 per year as a commercial bank branch manager. My partner is a medical doctor, and life has worked out well for us. College is becoming overrated unless it's a top 20 school in the nation. Everyone I work with has a Master of Business Administration, but I am among the highest performers and highest compensated in my role. I am also 26 with a long runway ahead. Story 53. I am 19 years old and went to college for a couple of semesters right after high school at 17. I then dropped out and started working in security, which I adapted to well. However, I realized I should invest my time in a field with more growth potential rather than what I was currently doing. I became interested in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, so I joined a trade school a few months ago. While trade school is somewhat optional, I wanted to gain extra insight in case I pursue sales or a more technical aspect of the field, such as exploring eco-friendly refrigerants and similar topics. Story 54. If I were working full-time hours, I would earn $50,000 per year. I am a driver's helper at a small, specialized trucking company. Currently, I earn $35,000 per year and am trying to enter the security industry to fill the gap. Story 55. I became an electrician through a trade apprenticeship. The work is challenging but rewarding, and I earn a good income. Sometimes, I find it amusing when my friends with degrees complain about their office jobs while I am out here doing something different every day. Story 56. I entered the trades right after high school and eventually opened my own company. I am steadily growing in a niche market in my local area. Judging by the number of licenses issued in the last decade, the available business opportunities will soon exceed the number of licensed companies. Due to educational requirements, it is evident that there has not been an increase in the number of people seeking licenses in my state. I would recommend anyone interested in joining the trades to pursue a licensed trade. It is much more challenging for unskilled workers to do the job when a license is required for permitting, especially on larger job sites. Individuals with ambition typically attend college and often shy away from manual labor jobs unless they are in desperate circumstances. While this is a generalized statement, my experiences have led me to believe it is accurate. Not many high school graduates want to deal with tough and dirty work daily. However, those who do apply themselves can earn significant money after a few years of hard work and learning. Story 57. Struggling, but at least I have $5,000 of debt instead of $100,000 like my partner, who holds a chemical engineering degree. Story 58. I feel miserable because I have an autoimmune disease, and now I cannot find any work-from-home jobs since they all require degrees and experience that I do not possess. Story 59. I attended community college for a few years and earned an associate degree, but I never utilized it and didn't want to continue. Now, I run my own real estate photography and video business, earning more than I ever thought possible. I am very thankful for the growth. Story 60. I attended community college and a for-profit career college that turned out to be a scam, so I didn't finish either and am not happy about the debt from that. However, I eventually became a barber and can't really complain. I'm not wealthy by any means, but my job doesn't consume my life, and I enjoy it overall. It's low stress, and I managed to get by working 4 days a week. Story 61. I went to trade school, so student debt was not an issue. My only debt is the mortgage on my house. I worked hard through my 20s, gained experience, and now in my mid-30s, I earn a little over $200,000 per year in a supervisory and management role on major projects while working roughly 7 months a year. Story 62. I was fortunate to find a good job that became a great career. I started working at a computer store in the late 1990s when modern information technology was in its infancy. Now I work for one of the largest managed service providers in the United States, supervising a team of around 20 engineers. Took a long time to get where I am, and if I had a degree, I might be doing something different, but I would have made more money earlier. Story 63. I would say that 50% or more of the people who graduated with a Bachelor of Arts do not work in that field. There are plenty of jobs that do not require a degree and pay well. Story 64. Not bad, working in the same field I started in at 18 and making $60,000 a year in the Midwest. I have recently decided to return to school since I am at the top of my pay range, but my job is paying for school, so it's a win-win situation. Story 65. Life is good. I have explored various jobs to identify what I want to pursue and what I do not. I am currently in a good position, earning a decent income and enjoying my work. I have held entry-level jobs that paid almost minimum wage, as well as positions that offered salaries close to $90,000 a year. Story 66. Since I was around 13 years old, I knew I didn't want to attend college right away. After high school, I worked retail for a year and a half. Once I saved enough money, I quit my job, loaded a bunch of camping gear onto my bicycle, and spent the better part of the next 7 months riding 5,300 miles around the western United States solo. The plan was to go to college right after that trip. However, my bike tour was cut short by COVID-19, and I didn't think I would do well with online school. Since then, I've been working in landscaping for almost 5 years. In the past couple of years, I've often considered going back to college, but I still don't know what I want to dedicate the rest of my life to. I have nothing but respect for my coworkers who are twice my age and still doing manual labor. But when I look at them, I see where my life is heading, and that's not where I want to be in another couple of decades, especially with the worsening effects of climate change on outdoor laborers. For the past year, I've had this thought. If I'm still at this same landscaping company by my 28th birthday, then I'll start taking classes at the community college toward whatever career interests me at that time. Recently, that career has been firefighting. I definitely don't want a desk job, and I have always enjoyed medical sciences. A few weeks ago, an apartment building just across the parking lot from mine had a major structural fire. Watching from my balcony as volunteers talked to the displaced residents, my gut reaction was that I wished there was something I could do to help, rather than just staying out of the way of the first responders. That experience reaffirmed for me that my idea of firefighting might be the right path for me. My 28th birthday will be right after the midterm elections. As former President Trump starts dismantling the Department of Education, I considered pushing my deadline for starting college back to when his term ends and I am 30 years old. On the other hand, my state currently has a Democrat and former public school superintendent as governor. So even if Trump decimates federal education standards, I hope my state government will still maintain high standards for our universities. Recently, I've been reading a book about the 2008 recession and an auto manufacturing plant that shut down in a small city in Wisconsin. The stories of the auto workers who put themselves through college to start new careers at 40 or 50 have been inspiring. If they could do that during an economic recession, I shouldn't let Trump stop me from pursuing my own goals in a year or two. I know that was a long answer, but it's because you are asking the same question I've been grappling with recently. Story 67. If any young people read this post, I want to let them know that if they can't attend college due to financial issues, there are other paths to success. I know some individuals who have become successful without attending college. Story 68. I dropped out of school at 15 because I knew college wasn't for me. I was the type of student who would get decent grades, mostly being a B student. I started hanging drywall on a crew at 15 and continued with it until I was 19. At 19, I earned my General Educational Development Certificate. I found a job assembling furniture and have stuck with it ever since. Now, I project manage and earn well over $100,000 a year with great benefits. Just stay committed to something. Story 69. No complaints. I got a job right out of high school with a major company. I started working the night shift for just above minimum wage and worked my way up to a six-figure salary. I married my dream girl, who is a physician, and we live without children in one of America's most beautiful cities. I would say I'm a pretty lucky guy. Story 70. I paid $1,600 for my schooling to obtain my commercial driver's license almost 10 years ago. I now earn six figures with overtime and haven't looked back. Story 71. I train myself with IT certifications. I currently make $160,000 a year as a systems engineer. I have worked long hours for a long time, but it's nice and relaxed now. I am 37 years old. I took my fiancée to Jamaica 2 months ago, which was our first vacation since a family trip when I was 18. Story 72. I dropped out of college in my first semester and had many jobs trying to find what I enjoy versus what pays well. I got into the trades and now make $120,000 with excellent benefits. Story 73. I started my own business last April. Year 1 is on track to see $150,000 pre-tax income. Specialized trades are where it's at. It has been a busy year, and I have learned a lot. I am very grateful for my community's support and feel fortunate. This coming year looks just as promising. We welcomed our first child in October, and my 30s are off to a great start. Story 74. I have done very well, actually. I realized early on that I am one of those people who learn by doing. 20 plus years later, I still go on YouTube or similar platforms to learn new things and keep advancing my skills. My son ended up being the same way and is currently on a good path, while my daughter is the opposite and is currently in college. It's up to each person to determine how they learn best. School isn't for everyone. Just don't let that hold you back. Story 75. Retired at 39. I am starting a hobby farm on 1 acre, and a tractor will be delivered tomorrow. I experience constant ringing in my right ear, crushing pain in my knees, hips, and lower back, and I cannot fully raise my left arm. I also deal with post-traumatic stress disorder and chronic migraines. Story 76. It's cool. I have major depressive disorder, so I do DoorDash and take care of my kids. I don't really have ambitions to get rich right now, but I'm enjoying life more by not pursuing high-paying, high-stress jobs. Story 77. My wife did not attend college, yet her life is vastly better than mine. She is very intelligent and became a manager at a restaurant at 21. However, her employees, who struggle with addiction and have frequent legal issues, lead difficult lives. I believe that if you have the drive and determination, education may not be as critical. However, for those who are unmotivated, being uneducated can be quite challenging. Ultimately, it all comes down to one's character. Story 78. Work and career-wise, it has been good for me. This is primarily due to my extraordinary luck in securing my first job, which I was not truly qualified for at the time. I worked hard to learn and improve, which allowed me to advance to better positions based on my experience. However, I would not recommend this approach. Story 79. Awesome. I have zero debt besides my car, with only $10,000 left on it. I am making $100,000 a year and am on my way to retire at 56 with a pension and more. Story 80. In a job I love, I earn over 60,000 euros most years. I can't imagine ever wanting to retire, so I'm glad I didn't go to college. Story 81. I am a software engineer now, but it took me a while to get here. I started right after high school without knowing what I wanted to do, so I ended up working various jobs in landscaping, retail, and shipping. About 7 or 8 years ago, a friend encouraged me to start learning to code. I am thankful not to have student loan debt because I truly did not know what I wanted to do and felt that taking out loans to attend college would have been a huge mistake for me personally. It all worked out in the end, but I was also very lucky along the way. Story 82. I made $170,000 last year, own my home, and have been married for 13 years with children. I have no credit card debt and a credit score of 780. Story 83. I graduated later in life. My last job before graduation started at $15 per hour and ended at $22 per hour almost 9 years later. I had 5 days of sick leave, no other paid time off, and a 401k match where I contributed 6% and they added 4%. The insurance was poor, contributing $200 per month, and it was a high-deductible health maintenance organization plan that cost me about $160 per paycheck with decent dental coverage. However, I worked from home the entire time and the position required no degree, although decent Excel skills were necessary. I graduated with an accounting degree and earned a $50,000 salary. I received 12 holidays, 5 sick days, and unlimited paid time off. My manager was good at approving time off, but I later found out that taking too much would affect my performance reviews, with too much being 2 weeks. I consistently received ratings between meets and exceeds expectations, and my merit raise was 3% in 2022 during a year with local inflation nearing 10%. They claimed the company average was 4%, but I doubt that unless accounting gets snubbed. There was no bonus, but the insurance was good, and the 401k match was 5% from the company, which was favorable. 14 months later, I got another job. In my first year, I earned $68,000 and received a prorated 7.5% bonus. The following year, they raised my salary to $70,000, resulting in a $2,000 merit increase after only 3 months. In my first full year, I received a 4% merit increase and a bonus of just over 12.25%. The insurance is decent and affordable, though not as good as my previous job. The 401k is the weakest aspect, but I've heard of worse plans. I contribute 6% while they match 3.5%. The higher pay allowed me to make home improvements, pay down some debt, and contribute $1,700 to an individual retirement account. I received 10 sick days, 13 holidays, and 15 paid time off days, which will increase to 20 this fall. My gross income before graduation was about $29,000, approximately $31,600 when adjusted for inflation, and is now about $80,000 to $83,000 this year, including bonuses. This is an average increase of 37.3% each year since then. I expect increases to slow now, but once I finish my master's degree, become a certified public accountant, and perhaps a certified management accountant, gain a couple more years of experience, and hopefully see the economy recover so that remote work picks up again, I hope to compete for manager-level jobs at a salary 60 to 80% higher, inflation-adjusted. Before graduation, my wife and I were stable. We took a hit in 2019 when my hours dropped from about 140 per month to 90, before increasing back to 110. However, since we bought a house a while back, our mortgage was low, so we were fine. Afterward, things have become far easier. I believe that even adding a child would have put us in financial strain before, and we are only starting to stabilize now. If we were entering the housing market now without equity, it would be challenging. If my wife had student loans, that could also have been overwhelming earlier. I can see many ways in which we could have gone from stable to being in the red very quickly, even just a few years ago. I am thankful we were able to buy our first house when we did, that her parents paid for her education, and that I found that first job when I did. Before that, things were very tight despite those advantages. I empathize with those trying to get started and would love to see changes that make it easier for Generation Z and Alpha to begin adulthood, along with millennials like me who are still trying to catch up. If it means my taxes go up a bit to fund programs and policies to help, I am open to that. I don't want people to take until age 30 to get their bills paid like I did, or to be unable to graduate until 40 due to the cost of education and fear of debt. Story 84. The house is finally paid for. I lived in another country for almost a decade and self-taught my way into the computer industry. I wish I had been able to attend college or university, but running away from home at 15 placed survival pressures above educational dreams. Story 85. 23 million blue-collar jobs pay well, but my body is exhausted. I'm considering going back to school. Story 86. I am doing well. I have a career I genuinely love, a wife, and a child. I earn a mid-range income and can afford the hobbies I enjoy. I received my training through the military, and no degree was required. Story 87. Six-figure job in technology. Work from home. Only work about 6 hours a week. Never had to pay a student loan. I cannot stress enough that it is all about who you know. Millions of people have college degrees, but many do not make an effort to build relationships. Story 88. I am fairly successful, but I would have reached this level easier and sooner if I had completed my degree. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.